I was gonna. Okay.
This is Sunday testing.
But I don't know why you not chair. I'm sitting in the paper.
All right, good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Good evening. Welcome to our Pax Christi Little Rock speaker series this evening. It's really great to see all of you here tonight. My name is Sherry Simon, and tonight we are so happy to be bringing back some of our peace partners who have been associated with us from the very beginning of Pax Christi Little Rock. The folks who have done an awesome job over at St. Joseph Center of Arkansas, Executive Director Emeritus Sandy DeCoursey, and Present Executive Director Scott Shellabarger. And this evening, they're going to be presenting a program about the history and the future of St. Joseph Center. So let's begin this evening, as we always do, with prayer. And so Al is going to lead us.
This is a prayer from Pope Francis. Lord, God of Abraham, God of the prophets, God of love, you created us and you call us to live as brothers and sisters. Give us the strength daily to be instruments of peace. Enable us to see everyone who crosses our path as our brother or sister. Make us sensitive to the plea of our citizens who entreat us to turn our weapons of war into implements of peace, our trepidation into confident trust, and our quarreling into forgiveness. Keep alive within us the flame of hope, so that with patience and perseverance, we may opt for dialogue and reconciliation. In this way, may peace triumph at last, and may the words division, hatred, and war be banished from the heart of every man and woman. Lord, diffuse the violence of our tongues and our hands. Renew our hearts and minds so that the word which always brings us together will be brother, and our way of life will always be that of shalom, peace, and salam. This we pray in God's name.
Amen. Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, Al. Thank you so much. So all of you know what we're going to do now in our speaker series. It's our custom to send around a donation jar. And tonight, the folks that we're going to be donating to are St. Joseph Center of Arkansas. So please be generous. Feel free to put cash or checks in here. If you just have a credit card, find George Simon after the presentation, and he'll be happy to take your money. So be very generous tonight. It's a great cause. All right, so now let me introduce our featured speakers. Sandy DeCoursey, St. Joseph Center's Executive Director Emeritus, was there in 2008 when St. Joseph Center of Arkansas was first created. I knew her before then when she was a much-loved director of parish ministries at Christ the King Catholic Church. Sandy's been with SJCA for the past 18 years, shepherding its amazing growth. This afternoon, I started to go through her history and all the different things she's done with St. Joseph's, and I thought, I'll be there all night and they won't have time to talk because Sandy's done an awful lot over there. But we love Sandy. She's worked with Pax Christi over the years. We've had many a retreat over at St. Joseph's, and we love her very much. We're so happy to have her here with us tonight. And I'm sure that they will be sharing all the information that I found out about her today. Scott Shellabarger, SJCA's current executive director, has been in that position since last March. And he brings with him a deep passion for community-driven agriculture, education, and cooperative development. And he's been instrumental in guiding SJCA's mission and vision. what I really appreciate about Scott is his hands-on approach to this mission. We, George and I, a couple of weekends ago, were over at the West Little Rock Farmers Market, and we found out all about Scott just from watching him. He was right there in the middle of everything, giving everybody information. And when we were asking about things, he showed us where their new store is going to be. He told us all the different projects that they have going on. So I really appreciate Scott's connectivity and what he's doing with our community. It's fantastic. So at this time, if you would please give Sandy and Scott a Pax Christi welcome. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sherry and George and Pax Christi members. This is a very big honor for us to be here, and we're excited to tell you the tale of what St. Joseph's has been and where it's going. Father Harvey, hey there, and seen you in a while either. I feel like I've come home, honestly. I've seen everybody in the room. Just very excited to be here. So this was a collaboration of Scott and I, little AI thrown in. And we came up with what we'd like to tell you about our past, present, and future. We titled it Historic Past, Promising Future, SJCA Rise from the Ashes. Yeah. All right, so not to give anything away, but this basic story is told in 3 parts. The first of which is its heritage, which many of you may know. We're not going to spend a lot of time on that, but it has a quite storied history. And then the renewal, when it was going to be sold, and St. Joseph stepped in, took over, and the rebuilding of those 15 to 18 years. And then, of course, the tragedy of the fire in March of 2025, followed by the rebirth. So we are working hard to get things rolling, keep it moving. So Bishop's vision, one of the things that I reflected on preparing for this was Bishop Morris was certainly ahead of his time. He was he reminds me of our past 2 popes, very socially minded, both about justice and peace. And so for that reason, I feel like that's a long trajectory to what is today Pax Christi, that he purchased that land with the intention of building an orphanage, which was greatly needed at the time. And also wanted to look for another thread from our current pope, who in fact you may all know has built a farm and is running a farm to raise food and people, learning different skills. But food is profoundly linked to peace and justice. So it serves as a human right, a tool for community empowerment, a medium for resolving conflict. And during his visit in 2025 to the World Food Program, he said that defeating hunger is the true path to peace, noting that ensuring food security addresses underlying geopolitical instability. It also addresses municipal instability. So as you both all know, Little Rock is not immune from the trials and tribulations of hunger and food inequities. The home on the hill. So he purchased this property in 1907. It was a 720-acre site that later was reduced to 63 acres, and I'll tell you more about that in a bit. It was designed by Charles Thompson, who was a renowned architect of the day, and was built starting in 1908, continuing on until 1910. Bishop Morris had just returned from Rome and directed Mr. Thompson to give him an Italian villa. So that's exactly what he did. 56,000 square feet of 80 rooms of a beautiful villa on the hill. Contained chapel, classrooms, kitchen, bakery, laundry. It was a self-contained living environment, including the acreage which grew their food. One of the biggest losses from the fire, of course, was that gorgeous red roof and cupola with the dome and cross, which were built with the building. It opened in the spring of 1910 with 66 children and quickly grew to over 200. So can't tell this story without talking about the Benedictine sisters. And I think many of you have probably rubbed shoulders with them over the years. They're an amazing bunch of folks. They took over from the outset. In fact, Bishop Morris approached them about running the orphanage. And before the doors even opened, they were on the property getting ready. They mothered hundreds of children, taught school for both the orphans and local kids. They cared for babies and also elders, and they worked the farm, growing their food, doing all of the things that go with raising 200 kids, laundry and cooking, etc. So they're amazing women. I love their motto, which is ora et labora, pray and work. That's pretty much the ethic with which they ran the orphanage. And that we kind of moved over to the St. Joseph's philosophy as well. St. Joseph's was able to garner more volunteers than I've ever dealt with. I thought we had a lot of Christ the King, but people came out of the woodwork. And what was really cool was they didn't represent any particular faith group. St. Joseph's was a very equitable place of welcoming. We tried to make it that way. So we had people from every point of the spectrum that came and joined us in our efforts. One really historical, interesting fact is that during World War I, the whole property was taken over by the U.S. Army and leased to the Belmont Hotel, which then used the building as housing for their officers. So from 1917 to 1921, it was, in fact, a hotel, and they built a little Coney Island type city next to it. The poor orphans were stuck over in the old seminary in Little Rock that had just moved to St. John's back in around 1917. So anyway, it was a very interesting history. And I want you to remember the Army connection because we're going to talk about it later too. All right, good old Mr. Greb there. Anybody that knows Mr. Julius Greb, who's been there since 1956, still lives on the property. He's 96 years old, going strong. And even though we had to leave, they allowed Mr. Greb to stay. So we're very excited about that. He's doing well. Here's just a little chronology of the changing times. In 1976, the orphanage was listed as a historic place on the National Register. In 78, the orphanage closed as institutional care for kids fell out of favor and more foster care replaced it. The sisters stayed, not as many, but they did have a crew that stayed on to open and run a daycare, which maybe somebody out there had a kiddo go there. It sounded like a really fun place. And that operated for almost 20 years until 1997. Then the diocese decided to use the building as a retreat center. So a couple of sisters stayed on to do that, but in 2008, it was determined that they needed to return to the mother house and something else needed to happen. Okay, the rescue of that title. And he's heard me say this more than once. For me, St. Joseph Center was truly a moment. You know, I've read that paper and then the Lord just said, sorry. I did that for emphasis. Anyway, it was just as if, you know, that can't happen. We got to do something. And so started right away. And sure enough, God brought together just exactly who needed to be there with skill sets required. I mean, I didn't first place to start about that. You might remember that Monsignor Hebert was actually the acting administrator or bishop at that time. We were bishopless. And so I had worked for him for a while. So went and parlayed that relationship to say, you know, we've got this idea and we've got some people behind it and actually some money. We would like to pursue finding a new purpose to carry on this amazing place. We actually did have a donor that donated the entire $110,000 that at that time is what it cost for a year of operation. Still don't know who that person is. I'm gonna have to find that out. The ad hoc committee that had formed morphed into a nonprofit in 2009. And it took a couple of years, but in 2010, we signed a lease with the diocese for a 50-year ownership, management of the property and hit the ground running. So the Center Reborn, these are a lot of stats. It's pretty impressive when you stop and think about it. Just 15 years, we were able to get enough going out there to attract a whole lot of people. So our sales, I think that's what you took that 22,000 number from, was how many transactions we had in our market. Customers, number of customers. Yes, number of customers. And then we had 50 plus animal ambassadors. We didn't have anyone paid to take care of those animals. We had folks come in to volunteer and had a ball doing it. We had over 50 community garden beds, which were leased by local folks and grew an awful lot of food that they grew for themselves and shared with others. We also opened the building itself to artists and had over 30 artists in residence. So again, it was really exciting to see the sustainable farm coming full circle. I think Bishop Morris built that property or built the orphanage environment with the idea that the farm was truly one of the best places to raise children. He had been raised on a farm, knew the value of learning that work ethic and being close to nature. So we got the pastures rolling again. The cattle had never left. They stuck with Mr. Greg. And so the cattle, you can see one of these pictures, thanks to Scott and volunteers, they got that pasture going again. So we were really able to keep those cows fed and it was really fun to have kids be able to come out and see live cows. We had laying hens, ducks, goats, miniature donkeys, horses, rabbits, thriving apiary, and our farm dog Peaches. If any of you have got to meet Peaches,
Yeah.
that was fun. With some funding from USDA, we put up 4 high tunnels. We're able to purchase a tractor to put real food back on the ground year round, and it was exciting to watch. Our animal ambassadors helped a lot of kids that came out to the farm actually have hands-on experiences with animals they might not otherwise be able to. We created gardens that helped feed the city. It's maybe a little ambitious, but the land actually was kind of busy all the time. There was always something going on. We had the largest community garden, as I mentioned, 67 active gardeners, and that was such a fun community. We really loved how that worked. Now we built a dedicated hunger relief garden, partnered with the Arkansas Hunger Relief Alliance, and over the 8 years we had that, we donated over 52,000 pounds of food. So it made a dent. It was very exciting. What was really wonderful about it was the people that came forward. I think everybody could relate to digging in the dirt, getting their hands dirty, sweating a little to get the harvest out, knowing it was going to help others. We also did a lot of education. So demonstration gardens taught lots of gardening techniques, composting, keyhole beds, season extensions for anybody that wanted to learn. And from field to table, farm is only sustainable if the food inside finds a table. And that's so true. So we didn't want our farmers market to be exclusionary, and as a result, included both SNAP and double up food bucks from the time we opened to be able to have all folks shop there. And we did a lot of our own produce, but we also were able to partner. Michelle might be able to help me. Michelle, Scott's wife, and she ran the market. Helped develop all kinds of programs, here, all kinds of programs, and it's just done an awesome job of getting our new programs rolling. But I think there were over 60 vendors. Is that about what sounds right? Farmers and artisans and folks that we partnered with and helped provide. We didn't realize till we went away how much some other people really did rely on us. So that was quite interesting. And what really is impressionable to me, because it was never our intent to make money, but we were always very worried about paying the bills. But after everything got rolling, I mean, truly, we kind of hit our stride in 2025. The earned revenue is what paid the bills. So we didn't need any outside funds to support that other than the grants that we received. It also, and Scott may talk about this a little bit in his part, a gathering spot, a third place, if you've heard of that, is so vital to a community. To have somewhere to go, to find maybe not altogether like-minded people, but people that want to do things that you like doing. The artists came together. They weren't an official community, but they all enjoyed each other's creativity, which just exuded out onto everything else. We brought in youth, a lot of youth through AmeriCorps and Full Circle. We created our own AmeriCorps program called Full Circle Farm Corps that then reached out into the community, not only served at St. Joseph's, but around the city. We did a lot of school field trips, thanks to Michelle, camps, cooking classes, helping teach the next generation about how to use the produce we were growing. It also became quite a popular spot for social events, concerts, and of course, the alumni always kept coming back. It's always fun to meet up with people that had actually experienced living there. Okay, now the hard part. March 19th, 2025, Feast of St. Joseph, go figure. We were wrapping up for the day and walked out, saw smoke billowing out of the cupola and realized that the attic was on fire. So called the fire department. They got there fairly quickly, but you might remember that day. It was a crazy day. The winds were amazingly harsh and there were fires breaking out all over the city. So we still to this day don't know what caused it. But unfortunately, it did take down the chapel and also the entire roof that had just been replaced and the cupola. So good news was every person and animal was safe. So we're very, very thankful for that. However, it did displace 7 staff, 30 artists and their works, 5 farmers and 4 residents we had living there at the time to help with workaways. Woofers, you know about that. But it was a lot. Fortunately, the community again rallied, got everybody taken care of. So after the dust settled, the insurance companies got involved. The insurance adjusters said, "This is going to cost $20 million to renovate, and we just can't justify that. So we're going to have to tear it down." And that was a really hard blow to hear. It still was in physical shape, looked okay, but they said structurally the heat had damaged a lot of concrete. Of course, the chapel was completely gone, but the rest of the building was fairly contained. They instead of continuing on with the farming program, they decided that they would utilize that property to form a place of formation, a smaller seminary. So we're very excited about that, and obviously know we have a need for that. So we're very hopeful that will be a good thing for the property as it moves forward. And we're excited to see where that goes. We did have to leave the property by the end of January, so since then we've been kind of nomads, but found a little temporary office in North Little Rock and have been working for there and now the different markets, and life goes on. All right, that's where I hand off to Scott.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, Kyle.
All right, so that was a little depressing. Hopefully we'll pick it back up. So we're a nonprofit. We have a board of directors. We now don't have a home. We had a 15-year mission where we actually got to a point just the year before that we were sustainable. We could grow through our own efforts and not depending on donations. So what did we do? Our board got together and we had 2 choices. One was, we'll see you guys later. We'll leave. We'll give our money and our assets away to some other nonprofit, or let's do something. And our board of directors, as great as they are, decided that we continue. So that's what we did. We are continuing. And we kind of realized that even though the building was great, that the property, the history of the property, everything, that we still had a mission, and our mission was to connect Arkansas farmers and build a community around growing food for the people in Central Arkansas. So that's what we're doing. Switching notes. I'm sorry, I got notes. Even though we were homeless, we still had a program going on that we had a grant. It's called Growing Urban Farmers. And what we do with that program, we train new farmers. We try to get people that are interested in farming to maybe either create a living or a side hustle to grow food. We help them get grants. We help them get farm numbers with the USDA. We have a service that we started since we don't have a farm to manage ourselves, and we have people that actually know how to do farming. We started a service called Garden 911. That program, we helped plant the orchard at Providence Park, if you guys know where that is. We helped Woodruff Community Gardens needed all new irrigation. We set that up. We've helped Crump Garden with irrigations. The irrigation at elementary school on on on
Oh,
Reservoir Road,
sure.
McDermott Elementary. But the list, so we're helping people build community gardens as a technical resource. We also had monthly meetups where we teach farmers things that they may or may not know, or starting farmers, pest management, how to build a website, how to define what your market is, planning. We just this last month we had a class on planning your fall season. We also have a meetup where farmers can all get together, have a beer, and bitch about the weather or the climate or whatever. That happens monthly too. So that program was already on, and so we used that program to keep moving forward. And I'm gonna talk about why that program's needed in case you guys don't know, and with these 6 numbers. So Arkansas leads the country in food insecurity. We are the worst, and that 19% number is actually low. That's from one estimate. It's actually closer to 23%. The children, worst in the nation. There's almost 78,000 people in Pulaski County that are food insecure. That's huge. And then you throw that together with the farming. So agriculture is the largest industry in Arkansas, with I think 13 billion in revenue. I think that's the number. But 14 billion, I'm sorry. Only 0.5% actually is grown food that is edible. It's cotton, it's rice for commercial use. So it's not, when I say edible, it's not market ready food. So not fresh tomatoes and okra and all that. And we have a problem with farmers too, because the average age of a farmer in Arkansas is 57 years old. And there are only 7% of the farmers in Arkansas are under the age of 35. So all of those things together, there are 2 problems, and I think how we solve those problems are trying to grow more farmers, right? So what we are doing is we are creating a food network. The food network at St. Joseph's, with us at the center. We are starting a farm stop or a farm store in Breckenridge Village, right next to the Root Cafe. And that is a great location to support farmers, because the people in West Little Rock will pay premium for their products, which we're trying to get the farmer to make a living wage. They won't continue farming if they can't make a living wage, right? And in parts of that network are obviously our Growing Urban Farmers program. That's to promote and get more farmers in the system. The farm store that I just mentioned, we run 2 farmers markets. So we have one in North Little Rock, the Argenta Farmers Market, that's on Thursdays. Like right now, actually, it goes for another, I think, 2 or 3 minutes. And then we have the West Little Rock Farmers Market. If you haven't been there, that's kind of an insane market. It's at Breckenridge Village. It's at the same location where the store is going to be and where the route is. And that's Saturdays, 8 to noon. And it's great. We have our food access partners. So when farmers have leftovers or seconds, we have a relationship with Hunger Relief Alliance, so they can drop those off or go pick them up and use them in food pantries. Or another partner is Spring Creek Food Hub and the Market Center of the Ozarks in Northwest Arkansas. If you guys have ever been there, that's an awesome facility. It's a $38 million facility, food hub in Northwest Arkansas, that has storage galore, as a commercial kitchen that I think 12 to 15 actual people can use at the same time. They have a produce processing facility. So if I'm a farmer and I have, say, 500 pounds of second tomatoes, I could send them up there and they can make tomato sauce for me. Strawberries, they can make strawberry puree that then a ice cream company can buy and use in their ice cream. So that's a connection. We have a partnership with the restaurants. So the Keat Restaurant Group, Petite and Keat. So Petite and Keat, Cypress Social, Taziki's, what's in the, Mount Fuji, DeLuca's, Problem Child Pizza, all of those. We have a partnership with them that once our stores open, they will buy from local farmers, just like the Root does.
Right.
So, and they also, the other thing they will do is they will put in a corporate, policy procedure for, food rescue. So they all do catering. Everybody knows what do you have left over when you're catering or meals. And so they're going to put in a policy so that those meals are left over. They'll have a policy to, so that Hunger Relief Alliance partner, Food Rescue, or one of the food banks will pick up that food and make use of it instead of it going in the garbage. So that's pretty good because that's 20 plus restaurants in Central Arkansas that should have that policy by over the next year, and hopefully be able to give more food out, out to the people that need it. All right. So let's talk about our little store. So that's a pretty little picture that Sandy had AI generated what the store looks like now. Will it ever look like that? I don't know. That's money, and we're a nonprofit. So we just want a door open that has the produce and the meat and everything that the farmers are growing in it. But we are opening right there next to the Root Cafe. Actually, it's the Root Cafe. It's a trophy shop, and then it's us, and we're right underneath the loony bin. Thank you. So we are, we're it's 2,600 square feet. It is actually in a food track desert based on the USDA measurements where they look at food access, because most of the residents in that area that are in that tract actually live in between, is it Markham and not Markham, Rodney Parham and is it Shackelford? Rodney Parham and Markham. In that area, there's not a whole lot of grocery stores. There's one across the street. There's a Kroger. There's, but that area, there's not a lot of grocery stores. And it's very interesting, the diversity of the income. You have people that live just on the other side, kind of where Pleasant Valley starts, that make a huge, amount of income. And then the people that live in that neighborhood that don't make any, and they're Hispanic. There's lots of, so it's in a good location because of, we can impact, we can sell to the people in need, but we can also sell to the guy in Chenal that he'll pay $10 for a pound of tomatoes. And so that's great. That supports the farmer and that helps our mission. Anyway, the two farmers markets. So like I said, we have two farmers markets. The West Little Rock Market, we opened in April 18th. We have over 1,500 visitors a week, right? About 500 an hour.
Yeah.
On Saturday. It's huge. Now, we're not going to take credit for all of that. We operate the market, but that was an effort by the Root Cafe, Arkansas local food network. We're just part of it, and we tried to bring all our customers in, which I think helped immensely get that number. But the sales, so our producers, our farmers at that market, they average, how much revenue does it generate per market?
At least $20,000.
So it's
a Saturday.
$20,000 in sales for those farmers every Saturday.
Wow. That's
so
amazing.
That, and most of them it's $1,000 or more a week, which that's great. That gets us to that goal of paying farmers, producers a living wage, right? They'll keep growing.
We've had small farmers that said this, they can actually make a living doing this.
We've had small farmers. We helped start a flower farm in Marche. It's just a struggling little couple, and they're gonna expand. They're getting a high tunnel. They're gonna start growing vegetables. So that's how we get people to grow more food. The Argenta market is on Thursdays, like tonight, and it's at the Flyway Brewing parking lot. I can't stop the same numbers, but it's in an area that has no grocery store. I mean, the closest grocery store in Argenta is what? God, yeah, I think it's Rose City. Or across the river, I mean, maybe on Main Street in Little Rock. Yeah, so it's a neighborhood that needs it. We have I think 15 or so vendors there that come every week. It's not quite as busy, but our hope is that we grow that as well. It's another outlet for the farmers. We got to give the farmers as many outlets to make money as they can. So that's another outlet. So we have farmers that already do. Example, we have one called Creepy Crops. They already do a market on Sundays in Cabot, so they come to that market on Thursdays, and they're able to make some more money, and that benefits them. We'll probably change that market to run off Sundays, just so I think it'll generate more revenue for the farmers, and after church market. So those are our two markets. And then let's talk about our other thing we've got going. There is, we've been looking, we still want our animals, we still want our chickens, we still want a community garden. We don't want to just run a few stores. When this all happened last year, we kind of came up with the idea, it might have been Sandy, of well, why not Burns Park? We talked with the mayor. There's an RV park there that got torn out with the tornado. It's 40-something acres. And so we've been going through the process of getting that going. It's been long and a hard process. We had this, the city had to put out a request for proposal. We had to put our proposal in. It got approved by the Parks and Rec Commission. And we're still going through some hurdles there. But what we hope to do with that land is build 100 community garden beds, raised garden beds. A lot of them that are ADA compliant. A greenhouse for starting plants, a food forest through the trails that are already there. So persimmons and pawpaws and pecans. So it's in a park, so people can go and harvest pecans or pawpaws or any of that they need. Obviously a pollinator garden to support the gardens. That's phase one. Phase two, visitor center or an education center, a pavilion. So maybe we move the farm market in our North Little Rock into the middle of Burns Park with a bigger space, more parking, open air pavilion that can hold 40+ vendors, outdoor classrooms. And then phase three, let's bring back our animals. So we may not have cattle, but we could have some small ruminants, some sheep, some goats, obviously some laying hens, some laying ducks, and bees. Bees come back. And we want to partner with the Central Arkansas Master Naturalists. If you guys know those people are, they take care of all the trails in Central Arkansas. And their trail shop used to be at St. Joseph Center of Arkansas in the old pump house. And so they're kind of homeless too. And so we would hope that we could build them a trail shop. That trail shop would not just maintain the trails at Burns Park, but it would maintain the trails at Rattlesnake Ridge and Pinnacle Mountain. The amount of trails they maintain is amazing. That's our master plan of where we really want to be, is at that place. So we hit a little road bump in this. We were thinking that we might take possession of that property in the next, say, month or so. We still have to negotiate a lease with the city. But as of this Monday, there are unexploded ordnance on that property. So it is a It's a formerly used defense site, or a FUD. And so we were notified at the Parks and Rec Commission meeting on Monday that they are not going to let us on the property until that is cleared by the Corps of Engineers. So, yeah,
Better say we're sorry.
well, the thing is, what's interesting is it's better safe than sorry, but that was where we're gonna build. It's an RV park. It is 55 spaces that were cleared and paved. It is underground utilities. So we assumed that all of that was already cleared.
So,
Well, why
so they
would
let
they
people
make-
live on top of it.
They let people live on it. Yeah, yeah. Not only that, but the golf course, half the golf course is a site. You could chip a ball wrong and blow up. Yes, there are signs, yeah, they have signs, signs, the signs will warn you, right?
Yeah.
But you can walk the trails.
You think the sand trap is bad?
Yeah. So you can walk the trails are open and those are in the site. Those trails are horse trails too. So, I mean, and bike trails, but so they're okay with people biking, riding horses, playing golf out there. But anyway, so it's kind of that's our latest issue. We are trying to expedite that. I have a meeting with the Corps of Engineers in 2 weeks and we hope to get that resolved. Yes, I know, 2 weeks. That's it. So,
Do you have any sense of a time frame if it's expedited?
it's really up to the city because the Corps says they'll do whatever they can, but it's really up to the owner to determine if people can use it. I mean, I don't know why they're like saying, oh, you guys can't build raised garden beds. We're not like digging down. We're building 17-inch raised garden beds. And, okay, above ground. They won't let us do that, but they'll let somebody play golf or ride their horse through there, or, you know, so yes.
Would it be beneficial for us to write the mayor or Julie?
Yeah, feel free to do that. If you live in North Rock, I mean, write the mayor, the city council. I mean, we have already engaged French Hill, and I know you guys are a big fan of French Hill. But he is our representative, and he has helped us file a congressional expedite the thing. So he is doing his part, at least in this case. So that's our biggest hurdle right now. If that doesn't happen, I mean, we will continue to look for a site. We want to build an educational farm, garden. Burns Park was an ideal situation, because I mean, if you live everybody lives in Little Rock. If you go to a park, what do you never see in a park in Little Rock? Gardens, none, not at all. Go to Missouri. There's gardens in every park. There's flowers everywhere. There's no gardens in parks. So we thought it would be great to have gardens in a park that, you know, anyway, so.
It was have time to answer the question, but so I live in Upper Rock. I've lived there for a long time. And I like the idea of having that as parkway. Why? I don't understand if they're gonna did y'all say they're gonna turn St. Joseph into a seminary?
Yes.
Yes. They're gonna tear down the old place
It's already torn down.
and they're gonna build something new there.
Correct.
So why didn't they let y'all continue, using the land?
Well, if you want to protest there, right there. It's a good question. We did propose that we kind of be in the same location. We proposed that. We proposed give us this little sliver over here where the gardens is. Huh? I don't know.
Powers that be.
Yes.
Sandy.
There are, I mean,
Oh, well,
I think there needs to be some sort of, like, I mean, they need to have well, we have moved past that. We are moving forward.
Bring it up.
Okay, so what can you do to help us? Okay. I think this is the last slide, I think. I don't know. You can pray for us.
Well, absolutely.
You can, we always need volunteers. We have volunteers that help us tear down and set up the markets, the market in West Little Rock. We will have more volunteers as things grow. Obviously, at the gardens, if we get into Burns Park. We, at the store, we will, helping there, but you can definitely volunteer. You can shop. So if you do like fruits, vegetables, local meats, breads, shop at the West Little Rock Farmers Market, shop at the store. We're gonna have it online at the Argenta Farmers Market, if you live in North Little Rock. And then you can always give
Now, when is the store opening?
Don't I?
in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It's up to her, and I can't tell a date or she will beat me. Or
So soon.
it's soon. I mean, there's a lot, since we're a grocery store, we do have to go through health inspection. We just got all the plumbing done. We have electric next week, then the health inspector has to say yay, and then we can start putting stuff in there.
Okay.
So it's close.
I have a question. I don't know if it's time for questions. What happened to the animals? Like the
Yeah,
cows and all?
So,
Where are the cows, pigs?
we had to find,
They had to
all the
rehome.
goats are at,
What'd you say?
where are the goats?
Um,
Kelly Grepp,
yeah, Forevermost Farms.
Farms.
she's actually running for Secretary of State.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The goats are there. Peach has got it retired and lives in a 3-bedroom house on the lake in Lakewood. And I hear she doesn't even get out of bed. She just stays in her queen size bed and watches TV. The donkeys moved back to the Tullivers. We were down the street who gave us the donkeys. So the horses moved up north to Mountain Home. Yeah. Ash Flat. The chickens and ducks we gave to other farms, or community gardens. And then,
Cows.
the cows were all sold at auction. The sheep went to a farm, in, Redfield.
And he'd raised them.
And yeah, and those were the sheep, they were John Michael, who actually brought the sheep to the farm. That's his father's farm, so we moved him there. And then the bees, don't know, they're all over the place.
They're
No,
buzzing around.
They're buzzing everywhere. I think they're actually in Roland.
Yeah.
There's 10 beehives in Roland until we can find a place to put them. So, that's where every animal is.
So are all the seminarians gonna be there and not at good counsel?
I think the plan is once that opens, the good council thing goes away.
We sure want them to be with nature instead of with people around your council. I'm sorry, where to go?
Okay.
Years ago, y'all remember in October, we did thing all churches to share that. Sure. And, Sandy DeCoursey Christ teams in charge of everything good there. That was one year we went to St. Joseph and painted and did all this stuff. We went to our cemetery and painted the black, and I still was close with that on it. You may not have dumped, but he dumped so much Holy Spirit in you. I don't know anyone as generous of spirit and heart with their family, her blood family, and her family and friends. You are amazing.
She is.
Sister Maria leave it at her. So I cried, and I think that what's not there, what should be there. But whatever you do, God's with you. I know that.
He's been the right people, that's for sure.
My father was supposed to be the priest of our family. My grandmother was, I think she still held a grudge till her dying day that was not a priest of our family. He went to Subiaco for 2 years, his freshman and sophomore year, and then realized he liked girls too much. And so, he came back and finished high school at Catholic High.
Scott, I want to make a shameless plug on the screen before where it said ways to give. Another fun way to give would be to buy tickets to our.
Oh, that's right. I did not know.
Oh,
that.
When is that?
It's called Let Us Grow. in Planning.
Oh, when is
And it's gonna be September the 11th, Friday evening, from 6 to 9 PM. And we're hosting it at the Sherwood Forest Event Center, where it was last year.
Oh,
We
I don't
need
have anything on the
sponsors.
first. All right.
We need auction items.
Auction item.
So you can do all of that online. I'm sure our website. will-
Yes,
It's
it's,
on their website.
it
And
is.
so tonight, before we leave, let's a bunch of us get together and we'll get a table. Don't take
Yeah,
fun.
yeah.
yeah, and the food is by the Root Cafe,
September 11th.
so it has local,
Oh, great.
food.
The Root
The
Cafe.
music is by a local little bluegrass band called the Busted Plays, and they're great. And you can come, we have live music at the West Laurel Market and they play there sometimes, so if you, it'll be a great evening.
Great, we'll be there. Great. I'm just impressed with the vision that y'all have developed from the ashes. Who all sat around a table and figured out what y'all are gonna do? This is amazing.
It's just an iterative process. And it really came to, I mean, it really, the whole store and the markets, it's just kind of, I guess it's destiny. It's,
Yeah.
you know,
It's the Holy Spirit.
they had, yeah, the Holy Spirit. We had the West Little Rock Market. There were one of the lady that does our books is on the board that started that. And they were like, oh my God, they don't know what they're going to do. They don't have anybody that's going to run it anymore. And so they're bugging Michelle to run it.
Wow.
And so that happened.
Wow.
And then the first time I go over there and look, I'm like, that place is vacant. Why aren't we?
That's
I mean,
crazy.
so it's like,
That's
hey,
a
let's
little
open the
miracle.
store there. So it's just kind of,
It's meant to be.
we get led down the path, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have a question.
Yes,
At some point in St. Joseph's history, was it a school?
yes.
Well, when Christ the King did Share Fest at St. Joseph's, one of the things that happened was they moved a whole bunch of file cabinets out in the yard. And we emptied the file cabinets so we could sell them.
Yes.
And I've been pawing through a file cabinet and I found the report card of a Gaston Abair.
But I got to hand deliver to him later. I won't reveal that one.
It's amazing.
This would have been high school.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, great stuff.
Yeah. Each straight A's. Straight A. Smartest guy.
I'm sticking to it.
Yeah. He was a brilliant man.
She was.
So there used to be able to become a member of St. Joseph's. Is that totally discontinued?
No.
No, it's still, if you go to our website, register for our newsletter, we put links in that newsletter at the very bottom always to say become a member. And to donate, we have we use a thing called Zephy. So if you ever see it says Zephy, that's what we're using for all our donations and our Friends of the Farm and everything, even for our tickets for our fundraiser. It's a free platform for nonprofits. It's a little annoying for the user because it does, ask you, do you want to pay the credit card fees or a fee, which you can say no to.
Just say zero.
Yeah. But it's cheaper for us because most of these systems, they want us to pay like $5,000 a year in credit card fees. And I'm just like, we're not going to do that. We're going to we're just going to use this system. So.
This is just amazing.
Yes.
I love all your attitudes, it's just wonderful, and at the very beginning, what it said, out of the ashes, what if you're
Rising.
right, yeah, I just love that. Yeah. And God always has a plan and we don't know it, so we might think, oh, this is terrible, but for some reason it happened. And there's gonna be something good that comes from it. We just have to continue to be his hand and feet. And
Yeah.
just thank you guys so much.
I've got a question.
I will share something personal because I just read a letter, remembrance written by Sister Otelia from St. Scholastica about the early days. She came from Switzerland in 1913 with her family, and her sister became a nun. So she became a nun at the convent at St. Scholastica. And of course, they weren't there. They were in a place called Shoal Creek, which is just near Subiaco. And it was a smaller place. They eventually built a bigger place in Fort Smith. So I grew up right down the road there in Charles. But she talked about how hard the winters were and how difficult it was to get food. And she said, if we didn't have St. Joseph, we didn't have our sisters, our fellow sisters at St. Joseph bringing us animals to eat and vegetables, we couldn't make. So,
Oh, that's beautiful.
they did.
Amazing.
Well, thank y'all very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's our website, yes.
Wonderful.
Y'all, I have a couple of announcements to make before we wind up this evening. Can y'all hear me okay?
Yeah.
Here, you can stand up here.
Oh.
Use the speaker. Just.
Oh, that's that little.
Oh, like hard.
There we go. All right, this is better. So first of all, if y'all want to see all the different activities that we're doing over the next couple of months, there's a sheet out there on that table that has all the upcoming events for August and September. So there's a lot going on, so check it out. I just want to highlight our next speaker series because they mentioned it actually tonight. Aaron Stanger, who's the executive director of Providence Park, is going to be here with us in Fitzgerald on Thursday, August 27th at 6:30. And you will not want to miss hearing her. I had an opportunity to meet her, and she's a dynamic speaker and has so much information on Providence Park. It's a 50-acre master plan community of those tiny homes. And they're providing affordable permanent housing and community for individuals coming out of chronic homelessness. So I hope you guys can come to that. One last thing, again, I always say this, I think most people here are members of Pax Christi, but if you want to be a member, there is not a membership fee. We only ask for your involvement in prayer and in action. So if you would like to do that, there's membership sheets out there on the table in the front, and we'd love to have you fill one of those out. Thanks for coming this evening, and I'll see you all very soon. Thank you.
Hopefully it's quiet for him. You can speak. Eric, get rid of that. Shut up. Thank you.
Pardon.
Yes, yeah, that's the one. I know. That's the one. Great, great. Okay. That's the one. And I thought. Let's sound pretty. Not that. Yes. Saying they haven't been. Something been, for all the things that. There's you walk with the outside comments, somehow it's fine. Okay. The other thing is the, bond. They make a way that, like, all, bond, fraud. Don't let that. All we. Yeah. All guys. Oh, I know again, I had heard that. About, I'm going. Oh, be in a favor. Oh,